What's the deer do?
The one I shot dropped, but it was perfectly coherent. It just sat there looking around.
Yeah. What do you do then?
You got to cut its throat.
Huh?
Cut its throat.
Well, you can cut its throat or shoot another arrow at it. I prefer to shoot another arrow, especially if it's down there and the front end's still working. It's got horns on it. You can get in serious trouble. No, if you shoot one and that arrow ends up like that, you're going to have the deer's going to fall down automatically. Boom, it's going to fall on the ground because you broke its spinal column. The way that spinal column is on this board right here. Here you go. It's this little. As I back this out, this top vertebrae, see this shaft right here? I get this out of the way. That's your spinal column. It runs through this hole of the vertebrae. See the hole through there? Well, that's where your spinal column, that's in your back, and then that deer runs right through there. When that arrow hits in there and it breaks that spinal column, everything behind that becomes paralyzed. And if you do that, that deer falls down. For you new guys, you're going to have to get another arrow, stay in your stand, calm down, and shoot another arrow out and dispatch it. That's the safest way. Just, you're not going to ruin no meat but another arrow. But just keep that in mind when that happens. Because it will happen if you hunt long enough. It will happen. Just keep that in mind. When it does happen, stay calm, put another arrow on the string, and do the right thing and the ethical thing. Don't let it sit there and flop around and do a bunch of grotesque things. And a lot of times, if it's a female doe, well, there ain't nothing but a female doe. But, she's going to have a yearling or two with her, and that gets pretty funky because they're going to stand there and cry and all this. But if you've got another doe tag, shoot the crybaby. Whack that too. He sent him along the trail with his mother. I mean, because if they're standing there, it's like they're over. They're not going to leave. And if you got multiple doe tags in a city hunt, that's fair game. Boom, shoot it. And if the second one stands there and it's a twin, and it's in mourning, shoot it. Now you got a trip. I mean, so I mean,
just make sure you got enough tags.
Yeah, just make sure you got the tags, But if you got them and then that happens, but they don't want to run away from mom, they might be nursing. But keep in mind, that's what you're in the woods for. It's the deer eradication, Okay, I want to bring that chart up here in a second. Always check your arrows. That's the first thing when you go there, when you get down, no matter if you know where the deer went, you see it, go look at your arrow for future references. I've went on blood trailing trips with guys that I thought hunted a long time. They just go where the deer ran. Start your hunt where you shot, and then take it methodically along. Just don't take off. I seen it laying over there. I don't care if I did see it laying. I want to see how it got over there. I want to see what sign it left getting over there. And so it's an educational thing, and you can learn a lot from those arrows. It'll teach you a lot. And basically when that happens, just slow down and take your time. Okay, now, the arrow's going to teach you something. When you're shooting a shot, and you've got an arrow, you get arrows going. Where's that clock at? Oh, okay. When you get an arrow going, you can't call it back. But you know that story about the clown that was shooting 30 feet up in the tree? This is why you don't shoot 30 feet up in a tree. It's basically, you try to go maybe 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock on the clock. 10, consider this as a clock face. You're 10 o'clock, 4 o'clock. You're getting up here, you're at 11 and 5. You still may get it. No way do you go 12 and 6. 12 and 6 is going to bring you right down. You try to get that 12 and 6, it's going to be right down on top of the top vertebrae. And that's a straight down shot. That's not a good thing. You can go 3 and 9. 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock, that's pretty good. About 11 and 5 is about as much as you want to go. Now you see the lungs? You're getting both lungs. Now, when you're up in a tree stand, you may want to hold your aiming point down lower, because what you're going to do is, if you're aiming here on the tree stand, you're going to shoot too high. So you may want to hold down lower, and you'll still shoot right in the middle. So you want to put it there. Instead of holding your pin here, it might hit high on the deer. So you might want to correct it and hold a little lower down here, so where it goes through right there. And you don't want to go past, like I say, you got your right through there. That's broadside, but you're not going to get broadside out of a tree stand. You're only going to get about 10 and 4, and at the most 11 and 5. And it's really hard to get a true heart shot unless you aim down lower. And if you do aim down lower, which you should, because you don't want to get it up too high. So if this arrow came in here at, say, 8 and 5:30, thereabouts, you take out the heart. And we're going to go into a shot. You're going to see a shot that a hunter was very, very fortunate to have that deer because of the shot angle. That, anyhow, this is getting real critical. That's about the only way you can hit the heart, is you got to aim about between 8:45, somewhere in that, to get it to come out at about 5:25. But you never want to go to 12 and 6, because it's going to come right down in the vertebrae. And that's not a good thing. Now, when you do shoot a shot, you're always going to hit bone a lot of times, because you're shooting for, you're visualizing shooting for the far leg. If I shoot that arrow here, it's going to come out, and I want to visualize come out somewhere in the front leg. And that's what these bones do right here. This bone here, what's this bone called on the front leg of the deer? What is my front leg of my deer now? Oh, here. Okay. These are the bones that you have the most collision with. This bone's called the humerus. This is the first bone down from the scapula. This muscle right here is the trapezoid muscle. This is what actually is the meat. Now, you can shoot right through this meat. When you see this, you know, a lot of guys shoot for the V. That's just pure muscle. When I pop that off of there, there's where the bone is. You see how far the bone is up there? And this is your front shoulder meat. So you can, that's just soft muscle. So when you go through between the 7th and the 3rd rib is a perfect shot. And you're going to end up with this V right here that you always see. So when you put that arrow right there, no matter what's going to happen, you're going to be in the kill. This is called the humerus bone. Now that bone was shot, this was the right side. See this mark on this bone? This bone was shot on the right. I shot it from the left side, and this went out the right side. I was shooting this way, coming down, coming from this direction. How come this mark is where the broadhead came out? How come that mark's going in reverse? See how that mark's going? That's saying I shot it from this side down. How come? See that red mark? That's indicating that I shot it from this side, but I actually shot it from this side. See that mark? Anybody can tell me why that mark's like that? Because the deer dropped. This is the humerus bone. This is that bone right here. This looks like it came in this way, but actually when the deer went down, now the broadhead went across it. From here, it looks this way, but as they go down, that's how it exited, right across. That's how that mark got to be in that formation. Follow me? That's how much it dropped. That's the broadhead. You can feel that. That's where the broadhead passed over that. Now, when you shoot that spot between the 3rd and the 7th rib, You got this nice big area, and keep in mind, it's not all bone right there. At no time does this scapula ever encroach onto the lung area. There's no physical joint or anything that the scapula, what you're seeing is this muscle. The trapezoid muscle goes back there, but the bone doesn't. There's no way, this bone's on cartilage, there's no joint there. It cannot, this bone cannot traverse clear back here. There's no way. You're seeing the muscle do that, but you should do that soft muscle. Now, what I got right here is, this was a perfect shot. Behind this X-ring is what I'm going to get. I'll pull this off. There's the 7th and the 13th rib. I said the third rib. It's the 7th and the 13th rib.